Hey, Section 112, this is our final PowerPoint for English 102. After you watch this, you should understand everything that you need to do for the rest of the semester. If you have questions, please let me know. So here are the announcements. Our last day of class is April 27th, and our final exam date is April 29th. Those days are a Monday and a Wednesday, so I've just been treating them like they're together the last week of class. I do need all of your work turned in by the 29th. I really don't have any control over that deadline, so it's really important that you keep track of what day that is in US Eastern Time. What you have left to turn in is your research paper, which if you're watching this on Monday or Tuesday is due the 20th. Your public turn, which is due the 29th. Remember that we had a week dedicated to how to do those the week before last, I believe. And your portfolio, which is not really an assignment, but rather just a collection of the assignments you've already done that I need you to put in one place for grading. Now I'm going to explain how to turn in the public turn, which please remember, I've already told you how to do it. You just need to go back, I think, about 2 weeks to figure that out. And I'll also tell you how to turn in the portfolio. It is a little confusing, so please pay close attention. First, here's some advice on completing your research paper. Do remember that it needs to have a minimum of 1,200 words. There is no maximum. It could be 1,200, it could be 3,000. I don't care, but it does need to hit 1,200. It doesn't matter how many words over you go. You need to have 8 sources, but I'm not going to be strict about these sources because I've been realizing lately that you guys may not have access to the online library right now. I hope you have 8, but if you ended up stuck with 6 and that concerned you, keep in mind I'm not going to be really strict about that. I will be strict about the word limit. The paper really needs to be double-spaced, Times New Roman, regular MLA stuff. Please pay attention to this. It's very little effort, and it really helps your professionalization. You need to remember to have a works cited page. Just a regular works cited page. Don't put annotations in it. Don't annotate your sources in your research paper. Do remember that you're going to get an A for completion if you meet these standards and you don't plagiarize, but I'm also going to be giving you feedback. So I may say, you know, under regular circumstances, this paper would have earned a C or a C plus or a B minus, and here's why, but you're going to be getting an A. I really encourage you to read your feedback carefully so that you can improve when you go on into your major. And do remember to put it in .doc or .docx file format. Otherwise, SafeAssign won't be able to read it. I won't be able to confirm that you didn't cheat, which is basically the only thing that you need to do to get an A at this point is just not cheat. So make sure that you have it in a file format that SafeAssign can read. Here's what you need to know about peer review. Do read your peer review and do take your partner seriously. You are not required to make the changes that your partner suggests. If you don't like their suggestion, if you think it's incorrect or wrong, or you just don't want to do it, you don't have to. If you didn't do peer review or your partner didn't help you with peer review, please talk to me as soon as possible so that I know what's going on with that situation. If you didn't get peer review comments from your partners, you're not going to be in trouble. My best advice at this point, because it's so late in the semester, is to try to do the peer review for your own paper and contact me about anything that concerns you. Remember that even though your paper is due on the 20th, which is today if you're watching this on Monday, that you can still make changes that you want to make on this paper until the portfolio is due. So it's due today, but you can turn in a portfolio version if you want to make changes to make it better. Here are some other ways to make your paper better just on your own. You can go back over our grammar lecture. You can read the paper out loud to yourself. You can have a friend read your paper. You can read it backwards. I've talked to you guys about this. I do want to request that you please proofread your paper at least once before you turn it in. Usually at the college level, when I struggle reading papers, it's not because my students aren't good writers, it's because they turned things in so fast that they didn't realize that they turned in the wrong document, or they turned in a document that was half out an outline, or they turned in a document that just has so many spelling mistakes that it's hard to understand. So do look and make sure that you're turning in the right thing. I also want to remind you that you do have to have an in-text citation after every paraphrase or quotation, even if your source doesn't have page numbers, and even if you already said the name in the sentence. So I've been very clear that you need to have a parenthetical citation, the little citation in parentheses at the end, but I think some teachers in high school teach you that, like, if you put the author's name at the beginning of the sentence, you don't have to have that. That's not true. You need to have both. If your source doesn't have page numbers, that doesn't mean you just put nothing. It means you just put the author's last name. If there's no author, you put the name of the company. If there's no company, you put the name of the title. So you'll always put something. Usually that something is the first thing in the works cited listing for that source. So remember that even if you say the name of the author or the source in the sentence, you still need a parenthetical citation at the end of the sentence or sentences. It could be multiple sentences. And you need an entry in the works cited page. You need all of those things. Also for this week, other than turning in your paper and starting work on your public turn and your portfolio, you're going to need to do a discussion board post about what you actually want to do for your public turn. I've posted an example that I'm going to show you, but you need to remember to check for my response, because I may have something important to say about your project, like, oh, I don't want you to do that, or, oh, I have a good idea of something you can add. So you need to be checking my responses on those. Here's what the discussion looks like. We'll go down to this one. Look at this. So I've made up an example one. It looks like a couple other people have posted as well. But basically, I had an imaginary paper that argued that Eudora Welty's photography of Mississippi in the 1930s showed that technology was growing despite the Great Depression, and I thought of an imaginary photography project I could do as a public turn. I'm obviously not going to do that because I can't really get to Mississippi right now, but mine was an imaginary project. You guys will post what you actually want to do. So, and then I'll respond, give you feedback, tell you whether or not it's a good idea. I'm sure it's a good idea, so don't feel like you have to wait on me to start working, but I will let you know what I think. All right.